Good evening, dear soul. My name is Mr. James Candlelight, and I'm so pleased you found your way here tonight. Tonight, we venture into the heart of an ancient forest, a place where trees have stood for centuries, where moss grows thick and soft, and where magic still remembers its old ways. We will visit the whispering woods, a forest so old that it has consciousness, so alive that it speaks to those who know how to listen. There you will meet Fern, a woman who came to the forest years ago, wounded and silent, and found healing in the company of trees. And you will meet a child who appears one twilight evening, a child who hasn't spoken in so long that everyone believed she never would again. This is a story about finding your voice, about the healing power of nature, about how sometimes we need to be silent before we can truly speak. Before we step into the forest, let us prepare ourselves with deep relaxation so your body and mind are ready to receive this gentle story. Come now. Settle in. Let's begin. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a forest. Before you, ancient trees rise like pillars in a cathedral. The air smells of earth and green growing things. I'm going to count down from 10 to 1, and with each number, you will step deeper into the forest, deeper into relaxation, deeper into peace. 10. Feel yourself supported. The earth beneath you is soft with moss and fallen leaves. Let yourself sink into that softness. Let it hold you completely. You are safe here. The forest welcomes you. 9. Scan your body gently. Where are you holding tension? In your feet, your legs, your hips, perhaps in your belly, your chest, your shoulders, maybe in your arms, your hands, your face. Just notice, and as you notice, imagine roots growing from those tense places down into the earth. Let the tension flow down through those roots into the ground, where it can be transformed into something nourishing. 8. You are completely safe. My voice is your guide through this forest. Trust that I know the path. Trust that I will keep you safe. There is nothing to fear here, only peace, only healing, only rest. 7. Thoughts will arise like leaves falling from trees. They drift down, land softly, and are absorbed into the earth. You don't need to catch them. You don't need to hold them. Simply watch them fall. Watch them return to the ground. Your mind can be as still as a forest pond. Thoughts are just ripples on the surface. 6. This moment is yours. This time is sacred. In a world that constantly demands your attention, your energy, your voice, you have chosen silence. You have chosen rest. That is brave. That is wise. You deserve this peace. Claim it fully. 5. Peace grows within you like a tree, roots deep, branches wide. It is always there, this peace, sometimes hidden beneath the noise of daily life, but always present. Feel it now. That steady, quiet strength inside you, that place that knows you are more than your worries, more than your fears. 4. Breathe in gratitude for this breath, for this moment, for the earth that supports you, for the air that fills you, for the quiet miracle of simply being alive. Let gratitude soften your heart like rain softening the forest floor. 3. See the forest more clearly now. Tall trees with thick trunks, dappled light filtering through leaves, soft moss covering everything, the sound of a stream somewhere nearby, birds calling their evening songs. This is where we're going. This is where peace lives. 2. Your body has worked so hard today. Every muscle, every breath, every heartbeat. Now it's time to rest, time to let go, time to simply be held. Release everything, sink deeper. Let the forest catch you. 1. Complete surrender now. You're a leaf floating to the forest floor. Gentle, easy, natural. As the story unfolds, drift wherever you need to go. You are safe. You are held. You are home. And now we enter the Whispering Woods. Deep in the northern territories, where few roads reach and fewer people travel, there grows a forest so old that it has no official name. The locals simply call it the Whispering Woods, because on quiet days, if you stand very still, you can hear the trees talking to each other, not in words exactly, but in rustlings and creakings, in the way branches move when there's no wind, in the feeling that passes through the forest like a breath. The trees here are enormous. Their trunks are wider than cars, their roots thick as pythons snaking across the forest floor. Some of these trees have been alive for 500 years, some for longer. They have seen empires rise and fall. They have weathered countless storms. They have outlasted everything. And in their ancient patience, there is wisdom. 3 years ago, a woman came to the Whispering Woods. Her name was Fern, which seemed fitting, given where she would make her home. She was 38 years old, though she looked older. Life had been hard on her. She carried very little, a backpack, a tent, and wounds too deep for anyone to see. She had lost her ability to speak years before. Not physically. Her voice still worked. But after everything that had happened, the accidents, the losses, the betrayals, she simply had nothing left to say. The world had taken too much from her, so she retreated from it. She found a clearing in the whispering woods, beside a clear stream that bubbled over smooth stones. There she built a small cabin with her own hands. Nothing fancy, just 4 walls, a roof, a fireplace. Enough. And in that cabin, in that clearing, in that ancient forest, Fern began to heal. The forest taught her things. It taught her patience. Trees grow slowly, adding 1 ring each year. There's no rushing, no forcing. It taught her resilience. Trees bend in storms, but rarely break. They adapt. They endure. It taught her community. The trees in a forest are connected underground by their roots and by fungal networks. They share nutrients. They warn each other of danger. They are never truly alone. Fern learned to listen to the forest, to read its moods, to understand its language. She learned which mushrooms were safe to eat and which would make her sick. She learned which herbs could heal and which could harm. She learned to move quietly so the deer would graze nearby without fear. She learned to sit so still that birds would land on her outstretched hand. And slowly, very slowly, the tight knot of pain in her chest began to loosen. She still didn't speak. She had no need to. The forest didn't require words. It accepted her silence as naturally as it accepted the silence of stones and rivers. 3 years passed this way. 3 years of quiet, 3 years of healing. And then, one evening in early autumn, everything changed. Fern was returning to her cabin after gathering firewood when she noticed something unusual. A small figure sitting on the moss-covered log near her door. A child. A girl, perhaps 9 or 10 years old. She wore a dirty white dress. Her feet were bare. Her dark hair was tangled with leaves and twigs, but it was her eyes that caught Fern's attention. They were huge and dark and filled with a deep, old sadness. Fern approached slowly, the way she would approach a wild animal, with caution and respect. The girl didn't run. She simply watched Fern come closer. Fern set down her firewood and signed a question in gesture. "Are you lost?" The girl didn't respond. Fern tried speaking, though her voice was rusty from disuse. "Are you hurt?" Still no response, just those large, sad eyes watching. "Are you hungry?" At this, the smallest nod. Fern gestured toward the cabin. "Come inside, I'll make food." The girl stood and followed, silent as a shadow. Inside the cabin, Fern lit the fire and prepared a simple meal: bread, cheese, wild berries, herb tea. The girl ate slowly, mechanically, as if she'd forgotten food could bring pleasure. Fern watched her, questions tumbling through her mind. Where had she come from? Where were her parents? How long had she been in the forest? But she didn't ask. She understood silence. She respected it. When the meal was done, Fern prepared a bed near the fire with soft blankets and a pillow stuffed with dried lavender. The girl climbed in without being asked, pulled the blankets to her chin, and closed her eyes. Within moments, she was asleep. Fern sat in her chair, watching the child breathe, wondering what tomorrow would bring. The girl stayed. Day after day, week after week, she remained in Fern's cabin. She never spoke, not once. Fern tried gently at first, asking questions, encouraging words, but the child's silence was absolute, and Fern recognized it. This was not the silence of stubbornness or defiance. This was the silence of trauma, of someone who had been hurt so badly that words had become impossible. Fern understood, so she stopped asking. Instead, they fell into a routine. Each morning, they would walk to the stream to collect water. The girl would watch the water flow over stones, mesmerized by its constant movement. They would gather firewood together. The girl was small, but surprisingly strong. They would forage for food, berries, nuts, edible roots. Fern would show her what was safe, and the girl would learn quickly. In the evenings, they would sit by the fire. Fern would carve wood or mend clothes, and the girl would watch or draw pictures in the dirt with a stick. Sometimes Fern would hum old songs she half remembered from before. The girl seemed to like this, but still no words from either of them. The forest held them both in its ancient silence. One night, about a month after the girl's arrival, Fern woke to a sound she hadn't heard in years. Crying, soft, muffled, but unmistakable. She rose and moved to where the girl slept. The child was curled tight, tears streaming down her face, small sounds of distress escaping despite her efforts to stay silent. Nightmare, Fern thought. She knows those well. She sat beside the girl and gently placed a hand on her shoulder. The girl's eyes opened, wild with fear, not recognizing where she was. Fern hummed softly, the same melody she'd been humming by the fire, a gentle, wordless lullaby. Gradually, the fear left the girl's eyes. She recognized Fern, remembered she was safe. Without thinking, the girl reached out and wrapped her arms around Fern, burying her face in her shoulder. Fern held her, rocked her gently, hummed her song, and something cracked open in Fern's chest. Something that had been frozen for 3 years. She realized in that moment that she wasn't just helping this child heal. The child was helping her heal too. The seasons turned. Autumn became winter. The forest grew quiet under a blanket of snow. Fern and the girl stayed close to the cabin, keeping the fire burning, telling stories without words. Fern would act out tales with gestures and expressions. The girl would watch, and sometimes the smallest smile would appear. Those smiles became Fern's treasures, each one a small victory. Winter became spring. The snow melted. The stream swelled with runoff. Green shoots pushed through the earth. The forest woke up, and with it, something began to wake in both Fern and the girl. One morning in early spring, they were walking through the forest when they came upon a clearing Fern had never seen before. In the center stood a tree unlike any other. It was ancient beyond measure. Its trunk was so wide that 10 people holding hands couldn't circle it. But what made it extraordinary was that its branches formed a perfect dome, creating a natural cathedral of green. And beneath those branches, the ground was covered in flowers, thousands of them, white and delicate, like stars fallen to earth. The girl stopped at the edge of the clearing, her eyes wide. She took a step forward, then another. Then she was running into the flowers. Arms spread wide, she spun in circles, laughing silently, and then she fell into the flowers, lying on her back, looking up through the branches at the sky. Fern followed slowly, her heart full. She lay down beside the girl in the flowers, and they stayed there for a long time, just breathing, just being. Above them, the branches swayed gently, and Fern could swear she heard the tree humming, not in her ears, but in her bones, a deep thrumming resonance, like the earth itself was singing. "This is the heart tree," a voice said. Fern sat up quickly, looking around for the source. Standing at the edge of the clearing was an old woman. She was small and wrinkled, with silver hair in 2 long braids. She wore clothes made of leather and fur, and her eyes were bright and knowing. "Who are you?" Fern asked, her voice cracking from disuse. "I'm called Mara," the woman said. "I live deeper in the woods. I'm the one who's been leaving food by your cabin while you slept." Fern blinked. "That was you?" "The forest told me you were here. It told me you needed help but wouldn't ask for it." Mara smiled. "Trees gossip, you know." The girl had sat up too, watching Mara warily. Mara's eyes softened when she saw her. "Ah, the lost child. I've been waiting for her to find her way to the heart tree." "You know about her?" Fern asked. "I know the forest accepts runaways," Mara said gently. "I was one myself many years ago, and I know this tree has a particular gift." She moved closer, sitting cross-legged in the flowers. This tree is the oldest in the forest, 5,000 years, give or take. It has seen everything, heard everything, and it remembers. What does it remember? Fern whispered. Stories, Mara said. Every story ever told in this forest, every word ever spoken, every songs ever sung. They're all held here, in the heart tree. She looked at the girl, and it has a special gift for those who have lost their words. Would you like to hear it, little one? The girl stared at her for a long moment, then nodded. Close your eyes, Mara instructed. Both of you. Put your hands on the ground. Feel the roots beneath you. They did as she asked. Now listen, Mara said. Really listen. Not with your ears, with your whole self. At first, Fern heard nothing unusual, just wind and leaves, birds singing, the stream in the distance, but then something else, a deeper sound, a vibration, and within that vibration, voices, thousands of them, millions maybe, all speaking at once, but somehow not cacophonous, harmonious, stories being told, laughter, crying, songs, prayers, promises, goodbyes, every word ever spoken in the forest, held and remembered by the heart tree. Fern felt tears streaming down her face. All these voices, all these stories, all this proof that people had lived, had felt, had mattered, and beside her, the girl was crying too. But her mouth was moving, whispering something, so quiet Fern couldn't hear, but the tree heard. The forest heard. The girl opened her eyes. She looked at Fern, then at Mara, and in a voice rusty from years of silence, she spoke. My name is Lily. 3 words, simple, quiet, but they echoed through the clearing like a bell. Fern gasped. Mara smiled. Hello, Lily, Mara said warmly. It's very nice to hear your voice. Lily's lower lip trembled. I forgot how. I know, Mara said. Sometimes we forget. When the hurt is too big, words feel too small to hold it. But the tree, Lily's voice broke. The tree remembers everything, so I don't have to hold it all alone anymore. That's right, Mara said. The tree will hold your story now, along with all the others. You don't have to carry it by yourself. Lily turned to Fern. What's your name? Fern smiled through her tears. My name is Fern. Will you keep staying with me? Lily asked, her voice small but present. Yes, Fern said, and realized she meant it completely. For as long as you need. For as long as you want. Lily reached out and took Fern's hand, and Fern understood in that moment that she had found what she came to the forest seeking. Not silence, not escape, but connection, purpose, love. Mara stood, brushing flowers from her clothes. I should go, but you're both welcome to visit me any time. Follow the stream north for about an hour. You'll find my home. Thank you, Fern said, for everything. Thank the forest, Mara said with a smile. I'm just its messenger. She walked to the edge of the clearing, then paused and looked back. One more thing. The forest says you're both welcome to stay, as long as you like, but it also says when you're ready, there's a world out there waiting for you. Not everyone is cruel. Not every place is dangerous. Some people are kind. Some places are safe. Don't stay hidden forever just because you were hurt once. Healing means returning to life, not hiding from it. And with that, she disappeared into the trees. Fern and Lily sat in the clearing for a long time after, holding hands, listening to the tree hum its ancient song. Time passed. Lily's voice grew stronger. She began speaking more each day, first in whispers, then in normal tones, then sometimes even in laughter. She told Fern her story, piece by piece, about the home she'd run from, about the people who were supposed to protect her but didn't, about wandering alone in the forest, eating berries and drinking from streams until she found Fern's cabin. I was so tired, Lily said one night by the fire. I just wanted to disappear, but then I found you, and you didn't make me talk. You just let me be quiet. I understood, Fern said. I was quiet too. But you're talking now, Lily pointed out. Fern smiled. So are you. They looked at each other and laughed, real, full laughter that echoed through the cabin. And Fern thought, this is what healing sounds like. Not silence, not words, but the freedom to choose either one. Eventually, as Mara predicted, the time came to leave the forest. Not forever. The cabin would always be there, the clearing, the heart tree. But Lily needed school. She needed children her age. She needed to learn that the world, while sometimes cruel, also had kindness in it. And Fern realized she was ready to try again, to live among people, to speak when she wanted to, and be quiet when she didn't. The forest had given them both what they needed, silence when they required it, and then gently the encouragement to find their voices again. On their last morning in the cabin, they walked to the heart tree one more time. They placed their hands on its massive trunk and whispered thank you. The tree hummed in response, and they felt, more than heard, its reply. You are always welcome. You are always home. Come back whenever you need to remember. Fern and Lily left the Whispering Woods that day, walking hand in hand down the path that led to the outside world. Behind them, the trees rustled in a language that needed no words. Safe journey. Come back soon. We'll be here. We're always here. Tonight, as you drift towards sleep, imagine yourself in a forest. Ancient trees surround you. Soft moss cushions your body. You are safe here. You are held here. And if you've been carrying heavy stories, painful memories, words you couldn't say or were never allowed to say, know that you can release them now. The earth will hold them for you. The trees will remember them for you. You don't have to carry everything alone. Sometimes we need silence to heal, and that's okay. Sometimes we need to speak to heal, and that's okay too. There's no right way, no timeline, no rules. Healing happens in its own time, in its own way, like trees growing, like seasons turning, like rivers flowing, natural, inevitable, patient. Let yourself rest in that knowing now. You are exactly where you need to be. And when you're ready, not before, but when you're ready, your voice will return. Or maybe it won't. Maybe silence is your voice, and that's beautiful too. The forest accepts all of it, the speaking and the quiet, the words and the wordlessness, and so can you. Breathe in the green air, feel the soft moss, hear the stream. Let the forest hold you now as you sleep. Let it remember your story so you can rest. You are safe. You are held. You are home. Sleep now, dear one. The trees are watching over you. The heart tree is humming its ancient song. And you are exactly enough, just as you are. Good night.